You ever notice how people just can't stand silence? The moment there's a pause, someone jumps in to fill it, small talk, nervous laughter, anything to avoid that quiet. But here's the thing, silence is a weapon, it's a strategy. And in some moments, it's the most powerful move you can make. There are times when speaking up is the worst thing you can do. Times when the best way to protect your energy, maintain your power, or even shift the outcome of a situation is to just stop talking. There's a reason why people say, speak when you're angry, and you'll make the best speech you'll ever regret. Anger is one of the most intense emotions we experience, and when it takes over, it clouds judgment, distorts perception, and fuels impulsive decisions. In the heat of the moment, words come out before we've had a chance to think. And more often than not, those words cut deeper than we intended, escalate situations beyond repair, and leave us wishing we could rewind time. Think about the last time you got truly, deeply angry. The kind of anger that makes your heart pound, your breathing shallow, and your face feel hot. In those moments, your brain is not operating logically, it's in fight mode. It's wired for attack, defense, or complete shutdown. The problem is, if you act while in this state, you're not acting from a place of wisdom or clarity, you're acting from pure emotion. That's why when we lash out in anger, we say things that don't even align with our true feelings. We exaggerate, we blame, we insult. And once those words are out, there's no taking them back. The most dangerous part of speaking in anger is that it feels justified in the moment. Your mind is convinced you're right, that you need to get your point across, that the other person deserves to hear exactly what you're thinking. But the truth is, anger distorts reality. It magnifies issues that might not even be that serious. It turns small misunderstandings into full-blown conflicts, and it makes it impossible to listen, really listen, to the other person. Instead of communicating, you're reacting. Instead of solving a problem, you're creating a bigger one. Silence is your best defense in moments of rage. It doesn't mean you're weak, it doesn't mean you're letting someone else win. It means you're in control. Choosing silence in a heated moment is like hitting the pause button on a situation that could spiral out of control. It gives you time to cool down, to step back, and to regain perspective. Most importantly, it stops you from saying something you'll regret. Many people think that if they don't immediately respond in anger, they're letting the other person get away with something. But the truth is, a well-timed silence is far more powerful than a reckless outburst. Silence forces the other person to sit with what they've said or done. It shifts the power dynamic. Instead of engaging in a battle of words, you're taking a position of self-discipline and control. And when you finally do respond, if you even need to, you're doing it from a place of clarity, not chaos. There are countless real-life examples of how silence and anger can change the course of an interaction. In relationships, a single outburst can plant seeds of resentment that last for years. In professional settings, an angry email sent too soon can ruin reputations and burn bridges. Even in simple day-to-day situations like dealing with a rude stranger or a frustrating delay, your reaction determines whether you walk away with peace or unnecessary stress. The key is to recognize when anger is rising and make a conscious decision to pause. It sounds simple, but in practice, it takes discipline. The moment you feel that rush of heat, that urge to speak up and defend yourself or put someone in their place, you have to stop. Take a deep breath. Count to 10 if you need to. Walk away if possible. Give yourself the space to process what's happening before you react. Over time, this habit of silence and anger becomes a superpower. It allows you to be the kind of person who doesn't let temporary emotions dictate permanent consequences. It gives you an edge in every aspect of life, from personal relationships to business negotiations, because you're not just reacting, you're responding with intention. And the best part? The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. You'll start noticing that situations that once triggered you no longer have the same effect. You'll feel more in control, more grounded, and less drained by unnecessary conflicts. Silence and anger isn't about bottling up emotions, it's about mastering them. It's about choosing your battles wisely and understanding that not every reaction deserves a response. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. There are moments in life when people will try to get under your skin. Maybe it's a coworker who keeps making passive-aggressive comments in a meeting, a friend who suddenly throws a snide remark your way, or even a stranger on social media who seems determined to drag you into an argument. These situations are designed, whether intentionally or not, to provoke a reaction from you. And the moment you engage, you've already lost. When someone provokes you, they are looking for a specific response. They want to see you flustered, defensive, or angry. They want confirmation that they've gotten to you, that their words or actions have power over you. And the more you react, the more control you hand over to them. It's like adding fuel to a fire that never needed to be lit in the first place. That's why silence is one of the most effective ways to disarm provocation. When you don't respond, when you don't give them the reaction they're fishing for, they are left with nothing to hold on to. Their words lose weight. Their attempts to get under your skin fall flat. This doesn't mean silence is easy. Our natural instinct when provoked is to fight back, to defend ourselves, to prove a point. But that knee-jerk reaction often plays right into the other person's hands. Think about an argument where someone keeps pushing your buttons. The more you argue, the more heated it becomes, and the further away you get from any kind of resolution. But when you refuse to engage, when you stay calm, composed, and silent, you shift the dynamic entirely. The person provoking you starts to look foolish because they're fighting a battle alone. One of the most powerful examples of this is in public disagreements. Think about a situation where someone raises their voice at you, trying to make a scene. If you yell back, you look just as emotional and irrational as they do. But if you stand there, silent and unshaken, suddenly they're the only one making noise. They're the one losing control while you remain steady. That silence speaks louder than any words ever could. It communicates that you are not easily shaken, that you are above petty drama, and that their words hold no real power over you. Beyond just avoiding conflict, silence in the face of provocation is an assertion of dominance, not in an aggressive way, but in a way that signals you are in control of yourself. There is strength in not letting people dictate your emotions. There is power in not allowing external negativity to disrupt your inner peace. People who can master this ability often command more respect because they demonstrate an unshakable presence. They don't react impulsively. They don't let emotions override logic. And because of that, they are perceived as more composed, more confident, and more in control. Another crucial aspect of this is energy conservation. Engaging in unnecessary arguments drains you. It takes your time, your focus, and your emotional energy, none of which can be regained. Every time you let yourself get roped into a pointless confrontation, you are giving away a piece of your mental strength. Over time, that adds up. You start feeling exhausted, irritated, and emotionally depleted because you've spent so much of your energy fighting battles that never needed to happen in the first place. There's a reason why the most successful and emotionally intelligent people rarely engage in petty arguments. They understand that their time and energy are too valuable to waste on situations that don't serve them. They recognize that silence is a tool, one that allows them to stay above the noise and focus on what truly matters. They know that reacting emotionally gives others control, while remaining silent keeps that control firmly in their hands. This isn't about avoiding all conflict. Some situations do require you to stand up for yourself, to set boundaries, or to speak up when necessary. But there's a difference between asserting yourself and letting someone drag you into an argument designed to provoke a reaction. Learning to distinguish between these moments is what sets strong, composed individuals apart from those who are easily manipulated by emotion. If you think back to the times you've been provoked in the past, you'll probably realize that many of those situations could have been handled better with silence. Maybe you argued back and regretted it later. Maybe you let someone's words ruin your entire day when, in reality, they didn't deserve even a second of your energy. The lesson here is simple. Not everything requires a response. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is nothing at all. Over time, as you practice silence in the face of provocation, you'll notice something interesting. People who once tried to get a rise out of you will stop. They'll realize that their words don't have the impact they once did. They'll see that you are no longer someone who can be easily manipulated into reacting. And that shift alone will change the way people interact with you. You'll find yourself involved in fewer conflicts, experiencing less stress, and feeling more in control of your emotions than ever before. Silence is a form of power. It allows you to dictate the tone of a conversation, to control your own emotional state, and to rise above unnecessary negativity. It sends a clear message: I am not affected by this. I am in control of myself, and I refuse to waste my energy on things that don't matter. That kind of composure is rare, but once mastered, it changes everything. In today's fast-paced world, there is a constant pressure to respond quickly. Whether it's in conversations, emails, social media, or real life situations, people expect immediate reactions. But the problem with reacting too fast, especially when you don't have all the facts, is that you often end up making mistakes, misjudging situations, or saying things you later regret. Acting on incomplete information is like trying to finish a puzzle with missing pieces. You assume what the picture looks like, but without all the pieces, your assumption is often wrong. And once words are spoken or actions are taken, they cannot be undone. One of the biggest dangers of speaking without full knowledge is jumping to conclusions. Human nature makes us prone to assumptions. If we hear part of a story, see a vague message, or witness a situation without full context, our minds fill in the gaps. We assume we know what's happening, what someone meant, or what their intentions were, but assumptions are rarely accurate, and acting on them can lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, and even damaged relationships. A single text message taken out of context, a snippet of a conversation overheard, or a misleading headline can all trigger reactions that escalate problems rather than solving them. Imagine a situation where a friend hasn't responded to your messages for days. Without knowing why, your mind starts racing with possibilities. Maybe they're ignoring you. Maybe they're upset with you. Maybe they've decided they no longer value your friendship. Fueled by these assumptions, you decide to confront them, only to find out later that they were dealing with a personal crisis and weren't in a position to talk. In that moment, you realize that speaking too soon created unnecessary tension. Instead of reacting, staying silent and waiting for more information would have been the wiser choice. This applies in professional settings as well. Imagine an email from your boss that seems critical or dismissive. Your first instinct might be to reply immediately, defending yourself or even pushing back. But without knowing their full intent, you risk responding emotionally to something that may not even be what it seems. Maybe they were just having a stressful day. Maybe their message was misworded. Maybe they weren't even directing it at you in the way you assumed. Responding in haste could turn a neutral situation into a problematic one. In contrast, choosing to remain silent, at least until you have more clarity, helps avoid unnecessary conflict and allows you to craft a more thoughtful response. Silence in these moments is not about passivity. It is about patience. It is about recognizing that words carry weight and that speaking without full understanding can do more harm than good. When you choose to stay silent, you give yourself the opportunity to gather more facts, to see the bigger picture, and to ensure that when you do speak, your words are informed and intentional. This is a skill that separates people who make wise decisions from those who constantly find themselves in avoidable conflicts. There is also a psychological advantage to staying silent when you don't have all the facts. It keeps you from being easily manipulated. In many situations, people try to provoke reactions based on limited or misleading information. They might spread rumors, share partial truths, or present situations in a way that elicits an emotional response. The moment you react without verifying the full story, you play into their hands. You engage in drama that could have been avoided. But when you remain silent, when you take the time to seek the full picture, you prevent yourself from being influenced by misinformation. You maintain control over your thoughts and actions rather than letting external forces dictate them. A great example of this is in media and social discussions. Headlines are often designed to provoke reactions. They highlight the most shocking parts of a story, sometimes omitting key details that would provide context. Those who react immediately, who comment, argue, and share their opinions without reading further, end up spreading misinformation and fueling unnecessary debates. But those who pause, who take the time to research and understand the full story, avoid looking foolish and make more informed contributions. The ability to stay silent until the truth is clear is an invaluable skill in an age of constant information overload. Beyond external interactions, silence also helps in personal decision-making. Life is full of choices, big and small, and rushing into decisions without enough information can lead to regret. Whether it's making a financial investment, accepting a job offer, or making a major life change, speaking or acting too soon can have long-term consequences. Taking a step back, remaining silent, and gathering more details before making a decision allows for better judgment. It ensures that choices are based on logic rather than impulse. Many of history's greatest leaders, thinkers, and negotiators have understood the power of silence in decision-making. They knew that reacting too quickly often led to missteps, while patience and restraint led to better outcomes. The ability to listen more and speak less is not just a communication strategy, it is a success strategy. Those who practice it navigate life with more wisdom avoiding unnecessary drama, and making choices that serve them in the long run. At its core, choosing silence when you lack information is about respecting the power of words. Words have consequences. They can build bridges or burn them. They can heal or harm. And once spoken, they can never be taken back. That is why restraint is not a weakness, but a strength. It is the mark of someone who understands that wisdom is not in how quickly they speak, but in how carefully they choose their words. The next time you find yourself in a situation where you feel the urge to react immediately, whether it's to a comment, a piece of news, or an unfolding situation, pause. Ask yourself, do I have all the facts? Do I truly understand what's happening? Is my response based on reality or assumption? More often than not, the answer will be that you need more information. And in those moments, choosing silence will always serve you better than rushing to speak. In life, there will be moments when people come to you overwhelmed, frustrated, or emotionally drained. They might be venting about their job, their relationships, their struggles, or just the weight of life itself. In these moments, your instinct might be to jump in, to offer solutions, share your own experiences, or try to fix the problem. But often, what people truly need isn't advice or solutions. They need someone who can listen. They need space to express their thoughts and emotions without interruption, judgment, or someone trying to fix things. Is where silence becomes a powerful tool. When someone is venting, they are not necessarily looking for answers. They are processing their emotions, trying to make sense of their situation, and searching for relief through expression. If you interrupt them, even with good intentions, you might shut down that process. You might make them feel unheard or minimize their feelings by shifting the focus onto what you think they should do. Silence, on the other hand, allows them to fully express what they need to without feeling rushed or dismissed. It gives them the freedom to untangle their thoughts and emotions at their own pace. There's a reason why professional therapists and counselors practice active listening. They understand that the most powerful form of support isn't in giving advice, but in providing a safe space where people can be fully heard. Sometimes the simple act of speaking out loud helps people process their own emotions and find clarity on their own. They don't necessarily need answers from you. They just need to feel like someone understands. By staying silent, by allowing them to get everything out, you are giving them that space. You are showing them that their feelings are valid and that they are not alone. Another reason silence is so powerful in these situations is that it prevents unnecessary conflict. When people are venting, especially in a heated or emotional state, they may say things they don't fully mean. If you jump in too quickly, especially if you feel the need to correct them, challenge their perspective, or defend someone they are upset with, it can escalate emotions rather than soothe them. Your silence in that moment can act as a buffer, giving them time to let out their frustrations without immediately turning the conversation into a debate or argument. This doesn't mean you should be completely unresponsive. Silence doesn't mean ignoring someone or being emotionally distant. It means knowing when to hold back and when to offer support in a way that actually benefits the other person. Small affirmations like nodding, making eye contact, or simple responses like, I hear you, or that sounds really tough, can be enough to let them know you are engaged. What matters is that you are not rushing in to take over the conversation or shift the focus onto what you think should happen next. One of the biggest mistakes people make in these situations is offering solutions too quickly. When someone vents about a problem, it can be tempting to jump into problem-solving mode. If a friend complains about their job, you might start suggesting they quit or find a new career path. If a loved one talks about a difficult relationship, you might tell them exactly what they should do to fix it. While advice can sometimes be helpful, in many cases, it's not what the person needs at that moment. Instead of feeling supported, they might feel dismissed, like their emotions aren't valid unless they come with an immediate solution. What many people truly need is simply validation. They need to know that it's okay to feel the way they do, that they are not overreacting, and that someone understands their frustration. Silence allows them to fully express themselves without fear of being judged or corrected. It gives them room to feel their emotions rather than suppressing them in favor of forced positivity or immediate action. There's also a deeper level of trust that comes from listening in silence. When you allow someone to vent without interruption, without immediately giving your own opinion, you show them that you are a safe person to talk to. Over time, this strengthens relationships. People begin to see you as someone they can turn to when they truly need to be heard. They don't come to you for quick fixes or advice they could get anywhere. They come to you because they know you will listen in a way that most people don't. Silence also teaches patience and emotional intelligence. It helps you recognize that not every situation requires your input. Not every problem needs to be solved immediately. Sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is simply to be there, without words, without judgment, without the need to control the conversation. This not only benefits the person venting, but also helps you develop deeper empathy and a greater understanding of human emotion. Another benefit of silence in these moments is that it often leads to deeper, more meaningful conversations. When you give someone space to speak freely, they may eventually arrive at their own insights and solutions. They may express things they didn't even realize they were feeling. And once they've fully vented, once they've gotten everything out, they may naturally turn to you and ask for your perspective. At that point, your words will carry more weight because they know you've truly listened. Instead of rushing in with advice they weren't ready for, you've given them the chance to process things first, making them more receptive to anything you have to say. If you think back to times when you vented about something, you might recall moments when someone cut you off, dismissed your feelings, or started talking about their own experiences instead of listening to yours. How did that make you feel? Probably frustrated, unheard, or even annoyed. Now think about moments when someone simply let you talk, when they didn't try to fix or control the conversation, but just allowed you to say what you needed to say. Those moments likely felt more comforting, more validating, and more powerful. Silence, when used correctly, is not empty, it is full of meaning. It is an active presence, a sign of deep listening, and a way of showing that you truly care. It is a way of saying, I see you, I hear you, and I am here for you, without needing to say those words at all. And in a world where so many people talk without listening, where everyone is in a rush to give their opinion, choosing silence can be one of the greatest gifts you give to someone else. There are moments in life when silence is not just a choice, but a necessity. One of the most critical times to remain silent is when your words have the potential to cause unnecessary harm. Words, once spoken, cannot be taken back. They have the power to uplift, inspire, and heal, but they also have the power to wound, destroy, and create irreversible damage. In moments of anger, frustration, or heightened emotion, it is easy to say things that we later regret. But once those words leave our mouths, they take on a life of their own, and the consequences can be far greater than we anticipated. Anger is one of the most common triggers for speaking when we shouldn't. In the heat of the moment, emotions take over and rational thinking is pushed aside. Harsh words fly out, not because they are true, but because they are meant to hurt. People say things they don't mean, just to get a reaction or to make the other person feel the way they do. But after the anger fades, the damage remains. Apologies can be given, explanations can be made, but the sting of those words lingers. People remember the things that hurt them far longer than they remember the things that made them feel good. That's why silence in moments of anger is an act of wisdom. It prevents temporary emotions from creating permanent scars. Another situation where silence is powerful is when speaking would escalate a conflict rather than resolve it. In an argument, there is often a moment where continuing to speak serves no real purpose other than to keep the fight going. This is the point where logic and reason have left the conversation, and all that remains is the desire to be right, to win,